Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hope everybody's having a great day today. Welcome to those that are coming back and welcome to the new subscribers. Thanks so much for joining. I hope you find today and any of my videos informative, helpful, and just a wee bit ridiculous. Anyway, today what I wanted to work on, I'm actually creating a Father's Day card. So this is going to go up in it's currently June, just before Father's Day here in Canada. But this isn't going to come out until August, so I'll be well safe from when I give it to my dad. So it'll be coming out after my holiday series, the Christmas in July series. So hopefully you guys enjoyed all of those videos. I certainly had a lot of fun making them. But I thought what I would do is I have a few of these dies that are a multi-piece and they are a buildable set. And I know sometimes, so I actually have a set of bears, like teddy bears that are like a baby and a sailor and a groom and a bride, and they have multiple pieces to them. I have another a baby. Yeah. Anyway, so I have a few sets like these, and I thought that it would be a good idea to kind of give you an idea of how I like to approach these. Obviously, the best thing to do is if you have the packaging and it has the diagram of how to put them together and everything, that's a great way of doing that. If you don't have that, like when I get my stuff, I tend to throw away my packaging and so then I just kind of have to figure it out. So, when you're looking at a die, how is the best way to figure it out? So what I have done is I have these three dies. Okay, so this is clearly, you can see this is like a man and a woman. These are their clothing. So this is basically to create these two figures here. Then I have the golf cart. This is the golf cart one here. And then this is like some accessories. So there's a bag, a green and then a hole and a T and stuff like that. Okay, so there's a bunch of little pieces here. So what I'm going to do, what I find the easiest to do is to cut them out in white first. Then what I'll do is I take the little pieces and I kind of don't, when you've cut it out, don't throw anything away until you've actually put it all together. So I can come in here and I can see, okay, so this fits, this is supposed to be this woman's blouse. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side here. This piece here, that fits as her skirt. Okay, and then what did I do with her shoes? I think these ones here are her shoes. So I'm going to let's see, so I can pick this up with my tweezers, my little fine tweezers here, because they're very, very small little pieces. So it's, can be difficult to figure out how to put this stuff together. And I can slot that in. Okay, so that fits right there. So I've kind of got these separated out. And then see, there's this tiny little, it's not really a teardrop, but it's like this little rounded edge. That's supposed to be this other shoe here. Um, if I look at, you see this piece here fits within this piece, and then this little guy here, see, you'd think this is a piece of garbage, just this little thing here. It's not. Turns out that's the little hole or where the golf ball goes, right? So I'm going to pull these out. Uh, so this little piece here, this is the hat for the man. So it sits kind of like right there. And then his shirt, his pants. And then I've got the pieces here that fit on top of my the golf cart kind of thing. So I've kind of separated these out. This is a kind of like a crafting grip mat, works really great because what I want to do now is instead of, you can imagine if I was cutting this out and then I decided I wanted to cut this out of colored cardstock, that would be a bit of a pain, either to have to do them all separately and run them through on little stripes, which you could do, absolutely, that's not a problem. But it would be challenging to have to figure out and cut all of those little things. So for me, what I found the easier option would be to do is actually just add a little bit. Oh, and I just broke her golf club. Okay, I'll have to figure out how to fix that later when I put it together. But what I thought would be easier is to use some markers and to use my ink pads because I already have the ink pads. So let's use, what do you have at home? Have you just got some like plain old dye-based marker, Crayola markers? Maybe you've got your kids' markers. Those will work great. I've got this one is a silver metallic pen marker. Works really great for the edges of the um, like for my flag and for the golf clubs to make them look this silver metallic kind of thing. That's really great. I've got some ink pads off to the side here, and then I've got this flesh toned. Um, this is just a again just a little marker, and so now I'm just going to come in the areas here. I'm just going to add a little bit of kind of this peachy skin tone to where the man's face would be, and also to his arm and to this other arm. Because these are the places, these are the pieces that I know will not be covered by his uh by the skirt, or well, I mean he's not wearing a skirt. He could be wearing a skirt, could make it a kilt if this was a Scottish, or making a Scottish golfing card, make it a kilt or something. Um, but it's this part's not going to be covered by the little pieces like the pants and the shirt and the whatever. So you can see here, it's a very small area, which is why, but even just doing that, okay, now all of a sudden it's added just a little bit here. Let me put my hand under that so you guys can see it, maybe a little bit better. Just by doing that, it has added just a little bit more depth and dimension rather than just having just this solid white piece, right? So that's what it starts out as. Let's add just a little bit of color to her face. So there's a little bit, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see that. Let me see if I can get in close enough. I don't know if you can see. So there's a little bit of area where you can see where her hair goes, where the blouse kind of like there's some indentation. So there's or some debossing. Nope, that's not debossing. That would be embossing. Nope, debossing. Debossing is pushing into the paper. Embossing is when it comes up, right? So yes, so debossed images or areas that kind of highlight, um, and give you a bit of a map of where to work with on where your pieces will go when you start to add in all of the other little pieces here. So I'm just gonna color in her arms here. Now she's also wearing a skirt. Now, if you were here in Canada, it could be like a chilly, chilly spring, kind of like what we've had here. So she could be wearing leggings, or like not leggings, but well, it could be leggings under the skirt, but hosiery or tights. Tights, that's the word I'm looking for. uh, but so I'm just going to add just this little bit of color. And of course, you can use whichever color of choice. Like, this is another great way to add some personalization to these items to make them fit with whomever you're giving it to. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this kind of brown, coffee colored brown marker here. So this would be similar. This is just a dye-based marker. So kind of like similar to a Crayola. This one's a Tombow one. And I'm just going to catch the edges here. Well, yeah, that on there. Now, I don't need to add some hair color to the gentleman because he's got a hat on. But even then, right now, this all of a sudden makes it look a bit more like a person versus um, just this white stick figure. Okay, so first color that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in some black. So I am utilizing I'm going to be using a couple of different blending brushes, but the first ones that I'm starting with are some little small ones because I want to get into these fine details. Okay. So these areas here, I have determined. So this is this is the gentleman's shoes. These are the tires from my golf cart. This is the seat from my golf cart. This is the little panel that kind of runs along the bottom that you step on when you're in a golf cart. And this is the hole from the green. So those are all of the pieces that I have determined I would like to have black or a darker color. So now I'm just going to take and I'm going to add some ink to my brush. I'm going to tap it off into this area here. And I'm going to pull out my tweezers and just kind of we're gonna so the grip mat does help your items sort of stick in place because as you can see they're quite small, so it'd be very difficult to hold on to them. You can see here, even though they are moving a little bit, I can actually drag my brush along it along each piece here and still have it be relatively in place without having to hold it in my finger or that kind of thing. So that's the handy part about utilizing one of these grip mats. Now, if you don't have this, if you don't have a grip mat like this, if you can find like sometimes at the dollar store they have those silicone, they call it like a glue gun mat. It's the silicone. That would be something that would probably work and at least hold your paper in place while you're doing this. Okay, there we go. So I want these to be a fairly saturated black. And I'm just using my Distress inks here. Now, I do recommend utilizing a dye-based ink because you do want these to dry relatively quickly. I'm just going to give my brush a bit of a clean here because I'm going to use it later for some navy color. Um, Instead of, I recommend using a dye-based ink, whichever one you have. I'm using the combination of Distress inks and Elements by Lavinia. Those are the ones that I'll be using. Because you do want this to dry. If you use a pigment-based ink, it will stay wet for probably longer than you want it to. So now I'm going to pull in a couple of colors of green. How dark do I want them to be? Good question. I think if I do this here and then the darker one, that's what I'm going to do. That's my little green brush. Now, what do I want? Hmm, I think I want the inner one to be decisions. See, that's the funny thing, isn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh, stick there. Stick. Okay, I am going to use, this is this color here. These are by the Elements inks by Lavinia. This is called one of the new green colors, Green Parrot. And I am going to use this one on the inner one, I think. Inner part of the green. And I'll use the darker color on the outer part of the green. So you can see how well these smaller ink blending brushes can get into these much smaller things. And like if I were to take this, kind of covers the whole thing. And in order to move it, I would have, in order to get my color kind of moving along and be able to swipe on it, I would probably be touching almost everything else. So some of these little guys are quite handy. They're really handy for getting into smaller spaces like this. Okay. Oh, we've got that green there. I'll put that to the side. And now I'm going to pull out this pixie green, which is much darker. It should be much darker. Yep, darker. And come in and add my color. So this particular technique can work with any of these multi-layering dies that you have. Maybe you have a set of flowers. I don't have too many flowers, but this is a great way to add color to your die cuts or to get to change up and to showcase like the different layers, etc. Just gonna move this golf cart out of the way here a little bit. Without having to use a bunch of different colored papers and things like that. I mean, maybe you have different colored papers, and that's great. If you do, perfect. Use them. I just think it can be challenging to have to cut them out of all of those different papers when I already have the white cardstock, I have the inks. This makes it just a little bit, I don't know. I just think it makes it a little bit easier for me is to do this. And then I have a little bit more truthfully, I have a little bit more control is how I feel about this. And that's it is what it is. All right. Okay, so I think that's pretty good for my green. I'm just gonna give this a quick buff off in case I want to move to a different color, but I think I'm pretty much done with that one for now. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, just to give myself a little bit more room to work here, is I'm going to pull some of these pieces off to the side here. And basically I'm gonna give them a couple more minutes to let the ink absorb and kind of settle into the paper because they're quite wet right now, right? That was a even though they're small little pieces, that was quite a bit of ink that was just oopsie. Of course. Can you throw anything into there? No, I think that's it. No. Somebody let me know later if I missed something there. Okay, so now you can see here that I've got kind of a black and a green stain on there. So I'm just going to take a baby wipe. Could use also just use a like a spray of water and a Microsoft cloth to kind of clean that up. Do want to lift this guy off of here too for a minute. Do this. Just a little bit of a wipe just so it's not picking up too much, or I'm not, when I go to do my next color, I'm not transferring too much color to my brush or my die cuts. There we go. Gives me just a little bit more room. Okay, here we go. Okay. Now, this guy and this guy, I wanted these to be a little bit, no, that one's going to be lighter. Okay, so the next color that I'm going to come in with is going to be antique linen. And that is, let's see here. It's this one, this is going to be the antique linen. And so it's kind of a lacy, yellowy light color. I'm using this one because I want to add a little bit of tone to these kind of creamy items for these ones. So the golf bag, the uh, golf cart, and then the golf ball. Because although golf balls are white, adding nothing is like just a strict white. You want to have a little bit of tone to it because then it pops, but it also adds a little bit of the shading to it. Nothing in nature. Even snowmen, even though they're made out of snow, still have shades and highlights, and it's very rare that you come across something that is a pristine white. So we'll just add a little bit of this just around the edges on the golf ball. And stick down there, you. But you can see here that I can kind of dab my color using my brush. I can kind of push my color and buff it in using circular motions and whatever. But I'm not tearing, as you can see, like that's a pretty delicate edge on there on that golf cart, but I'm not tearing it using this motion. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's enough of that one. Now, I think the last one I did, I wonder if I did the Lost Shadow. Let's do I think I'm going to do the Lost Shadow for the edge of the golf cart. And this Lost Shadow is a really, it's kind of a taupey gray color, actually. It definitely has a brown undertone to it, which kind of, I think, works not too badly when I go to put this, for example, over the top of here, right? That's not too bad. I kind of like it, and I can actually add a little bit of this gray on the top here to my golf cart. Change that tone up just a little bit. Okay, so I'm happy with those. So let's move those to the side. Actually, there's enough room on there. I can let those sit there. Now, the one next things that I want to do is I'm going to do some vintage photo, which is kind of a sepia tone, I guess would be the right color. And I want to do that in for his pants. So they're going to be kind of like a set of khakis, and then her shoes. So these guys right here. So I think before I do that, I'm actually going to move them over to where I was just using this kind of browny gray, which fine, gives me some more space to play with over here. Okay. Some color in there. And shoes. So, and these should be, if I've done them correctly, these should be the lady shoes. If I haven't mixed everything around too much. Because that happens. Stuff moves. Stuff moves. What can I say? Okay, I'm done with the Distress ink ones now. Now I'm just going to finish off using my some Lavinia colors here. Oop, okay. So let's do I'm going to save the silver. So I'm going to do the red first. Red makes such a can be quite challenging to have to clean up. So let's pull out. Where is the red? Of course, it's the very one on the bottom of the pile. Okay, so for the red, I want to do red on the flag and the T here. What do you red? So this is Emperor Red, I believe it's called. Emperor Red. And so I want to come in and hold this up and see if you guys can see this. So I'm not sure if you can see on the flag here, there's a tiny little, you can just see here that there's a line where it's been embossed that highlights where the pin or the flag pole is versus the flag. So I want to try and just drag my brush right up to that point. I think I'm covering it a little bit more, but that's why I want to do this first, because then I can come in with my silver pen and I'm going to cover over that. Yay! And then I want to come in and make this T very, very red. So the cool thing, the reason why I'm doing the T quite red, most golf courses have red or black flags kind of thing. But the T, I want it to be red because it shows up really well on green, right? If I'm doing a green base for my where I'm going to put my golfer once he's done and everything, I'm going to want that to be able to stand out. So that's going to be important. Okay, so now I want to add, so I've got the woman's skirt here. Not sure what color I want to do with that one. But most of the golf accessories here. So I've got the man's shirt, his hat. This goes onto the golf, and these two pieces go onto the golf bag. So in those ones, I kind of want to keep similar, is I guess what I'm going to say. So, what colors did I pull out? Oop, Toll, Blue Lagoon, Mount Descendants. I think I'm going to use this Della Blue, which is kind of a darker blue. And let's see, pull off a little bit of the, make sure I haven't got too much of the black still in my, um, still in my brush here. Okay, so I want, so his pants are kind of a khaki, so I kind of want to have a, almost like a navy-ish blue as his coordinating color, is what I'm thinking. That in. To the hat. Okay, and then these two little uh these are going to be attached to the golf bag. So his whole outfit is going to kind of coordinate with his golf bag. It's kind of like my brother. He's very, very coordinated. Really, if I think about it, it's kind of fun. Okay, so I'm putting that one aside. That is my darker blue. Now for the lady, I think often women, when they're golfing, tend to have a little bit more color to their items. And I'm kind of thinking we could do, let's see here. So we have kind of a, I'm gonna do this brighter blue, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna do this brighter blue for her skirt, and then for her shirt, I think I'm gonna do a purpley color. So let's try brighter blue. Good saturation on that. go. And then need purple. So this one was Blue Lagoon. The previous blue that I used was Della Blue, so it's kind of a darker blue. Now I'm going to use Violet Chalk. Do I use Violet Chalk or do I want to use yellow? And yellow on there. Yeah, no, I'm going to use the yellow. I think the yellow will be really pretty with that blue. Okay, so then what am I going to do? Brown, brown. No, I've been using the wrong brush, despite it being labeled as yellow. I've been using it for brown. Okay, well, so let's get that a good scrub out. There we go. Okay, good. And let's load it up with some yellow. Like so. So, and the only thing when you're doing this kind of technique, you just want to make sure that you've got it flipped to the correct side, right? That you have the side that is the correct side facing up, that you're adding color to the correct side. If you're not, it's not the end of the world. You just have to go back in and add color to the other side when you're done, right? Okay. So that's most of those pieces. Now I'm going to take my little silver pen here and I'm going to just pick these guys up and I'm going to draw along the edge here. This is going to be my set of irons. Oh no. You're so delicate. Irons, I'm going to turn that around. Anybody out there golfers or love to golf? I used to golf. My hubby and I used to golf. He's trying to get back into it. Um, I like golfing, and I grew up in a golfing family. And I certainly know how to golf. I'm pretty good at it until it comes to putting. I'm terrible putting. I can be on the green in, two, 2 or 3. I can hit the ball really well. What I don't do well is putt. And yeah, like I can be, yeah, let's say on a par 5, I can be on the green in 3, and then I'll like 12 putt. It's just terrible, quite frankly. My putting game is awful. Even when we go, my niece and nephew, although my niece, she's still been too young to kind of know, but my nephew certainly knows now how bad I am at putting because we play mini golf when we go on vacation with them, and yeah, it's not good, is what I'll say. And he knows it now, and it's yeah, often sometimes I can hit like a good I'll get a decent hole in one kind of thing, and that'll happen. Sometimes I can hit it pretty good, but then it's like when it goes bad, oh, it goes bad. If it's good, it's good. But I hear most people feel that way with golf, right? It's like, oh, I hate this game, I hate this game, I hate this game. Oh my God, I hit that so well. I love this game. So yeah. Like and truthfully, a bad day at golf is still better than a lot of people's days at work. So there you go, right? Not a bad thing to do. But I've decided for me, so yeah, hubby and I, like I said, I used to golf with my family. Um and my husband and I used to golf a little bit, 20 years ago. But then I got into crafting. And now, truthfully, I would much rather afford crafting supplies than having to go and golf. And, like I said, golf is not inexpensive. So, yeah, so I don't tend to golf. So now I know for a fact that this sleeve here, you can kind of see when I go to put these two together, is not necessarily going to be covered up by the add-on of the overlay. So I'm just going to add in just a little bit of color of what I was using here. Hers covers up. So, all right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these items together. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to pull is I'm going to pull out my pieces for my oh, can you guys see that? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to move this out to the side here so you guys can get a better viewpoint here. Okay, so I'm going to start gluing on the pieces of my golf cart. That's the word that I'm looking for. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start with a seat. So it's this tiny little L shape. So it's really important that when you pull out your, like when you've die cut these items, pull them out, and before you go and get rid of anything and throw it away, check and make sure that it doesn't fit someplace, because there's all of these great little lines on the die cut. See, let me see if I can show you here. Maybe close enough for you guys to see. So you can see that there's little wheel hubs. There's a nice little cut emboss right here that allows me to know that that's where my fender goes. There was a embossing area here that shows where this weird little almost looks like one of those hook seeds or a helicopter seed thing goes. Okay, so that's what you want to look for before you go and throw away any of the extra pieces or the things that you think are extra. Make sure that you pull out all of those small little pieces and make sure that they don't fit somewhere first before you go and turf something, because they are small pieces, so they will be difficult to find in your garbage bin. Well, okay, unless you're somebody who empties your garbage bin every single time that you're crafting, kind of thing. I am not. I tend to let it get to the right to the top, to the point where it's threatening to explode and get a little carried away there. And then I'm like, maybe I should empty that. But other people don't do that. They empty their garbage on every time they craft and stuff like that. And that is admirable. I admire that for people who are that organized and can do those kind of things. That's an amazing thing. Mm. All right. So I know that some of this, oh, you know what? I wonder if that is supposed to be. See, here's now. Nope, that's too short. I was just wondering if, like, I could almost cut this black piece out again and put that as the top right up there. But it's smaller than what that one is. So it doesn't go there. But it could, actually. I could trim it and put that there and call that good. Okay. So now we're just going to go through and you're going to piece together the pieces of that you have just spent all of this time coloring or zhuzhing or putting together. And a really handy point is using liquid adhesive so that you can kind of squidgy them. You've got a little bit of time. Oop, too far, too far, too far. A little bit of time to kind of move them into the correct spacing, right? Like that. Okay, we're getting so much cool detail in this little guy now. Look at that. Here, that's actually hard to see on that float. Oh, no. Look how fun that's looking. Starting to look like a golf cart. All right. And then I have this cute fender. Oh, feel his knees coming. All right. So this little fender is going to go right in there. So all this is doing is adding a little bit, the whole point of doing this is to just add a little bit of dimension, a little bit of fun, a little bit more, anytime you add dimension on something that is 2D, and you can add a little bit of oomph to it, it takes it into something that tricks our eye into thinking it's a little bit more real. Obviously, they know that this isn't going to drive off the page, but it's starting to look like a fun little detailed embellishment to a card now. Okay, so now let's take this guy here. Let's do his pence. So, and I'm just basically taking these and slotting them. Oh, fudge. I forgot he has a belt. Let's do. So there's a tiny little line across the top here. And I'm going to take my felt and I'm just going to run to do a little bit of a line. Because there's no way I could get ink in there that carefully, but I can draw on it moderately carefully. Okay. So, and again, using liquid adhesive gives you just enough time to kind of slide your items into place, which is helpful. This would be very difficult to try and do with a like a tape runner or something like that. You definitely, I mean, probably not impossible, but challenging. Okay, and you can see here, remember I told you that I could tell that this little, let's fold that so you guys can see it here, that this little sleeve kind of sticks out from where, when I was doing the coloring, so that I knew that this top part that was being added wouldn't touch that. So that's where I added the color. So it looks a little bit more seamless. And that's what I'm aiming for. Okay, so let's add just a dollop of blue adhesive right there. Put in the hat. So, just use whatever you've got on hand to kind of jig it into place. Pick up, I've got a little bit of a squidge of adhesive there, a little bit too much on. Okay, now before I go and add the adhesive on these, I want to double check and make sure that I've done the correct ones here. Okay, that one's correct, and that one has the heel. Okay, good. I actually had created another card that I wanted to see that I was testing out before doing the video kind of thing. Yeah, it was 3 hours. So I was like, there is no way I am going to be doing that. So how can I simplify this a bit for you guys? But the cool die set that I used for that one, watch for that, come for the holiday series in December. And make this beautiful monochromatic card using these stacked dies here. So I'll show you that. But this is the card that I made, but it was a 3 hour card. I didn't have time to do the video after that. But look at from our white stick figure that we had to this really adorable golfer that looks like a golfer. Definitely gives you the idea we're talking about a golfer here, right? And I'm going to put this over to the side here. I'm going to put this over to the side. Okay, okay, so this guy here is going to now have a little bit of adhesive here. Righty. This thing says golf. Like that there. Whoopee, stick. That up and push it into place. Like so. Nope, and shift fine. Go. And pick this guy up, maybe. Yep. Flipped, of course, because that's how it is. So in this little thing here is just a wax stick. It's actually great. You can get specific craft ones, but this one that I've got is actually from uh, uh what's it for? Ladies who do nails. That's where I got it from. Yeah, they use these for the little for doing gems and stuff on nails. And it works a treat. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna take these little guys here and I'm gonna push them through the top of golf bag here. So that we have a set of irons actually in our golf bag. This. So there's a tiny little slit at the top of the golf bag, and I'll show you what this looks like here in a second once I get this adhered down. So you can see here, I'm just pulling them through, kind of putting them in place, checking out what I like for how I like them to lay. Typically, I like them to kind of be at a different height. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. And from the back, you can see here, we've got these two that are going to lay flat here. So I'm going to tip them up. You can kind of see that towards camera there. And I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive down. That. Just going to take these pieces and squish them into my adhesive. Hold it for just a second so that they adhere. Like that. And now we have an adorable little golf bag. How cute is that, right? Okay. And I actually, on the other card, I actually had that sitting right there, which was kind of fun. Okay. Now I mostly just have the lady left, and I might have to, she's not going to go on this card because, of course, I'm making a Father's Day card, so I'm probably not going to use her, but I'll show you what it looks like when she's done here. So I'm going to continue to adhere these pieces. Alrighty. So this. So, and then you saw where her golf club kind of broke, right? So all I would do for that is when I go and I stick this down on the card is I'll just actually add a little bit of adhesive right where it's supposed to be and just do that. So I will probably save this for maybe Mother's Day or birthday card for my mom or my sister-in-law because they both golf. So we'll see, we'll see. I could also just make one as one that could be a giveaway too. That could work too. Okay. And I can see here that her blouse is a little shorter than I thought. So I have to, so you can see here. So again, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. You can see at her collar, sorry, that kind of fell. At her collar, there's a little bit of the white showing there. So I'm just going to take my flesh colored felt and I'm just going to add just a skosh there of that, just so that the white isn't showing, so that she looks, I mean, not as pale. Okay, now the last part is her shoes. And oh, first one. Oh, Skype. That one's going to sit right there. Okay. Up. Squeegee that into place. Make sure it stays. There we go. These are so cute. Look at how cute is that? A little bit of personality. Now, of course, you could color those in different ways as well. If you didn't want to use, again, if you weren't going to use, you could cut them out, the tiny little things that they are. You could cut them out of um, like designer cardstock, like patterned paper cardstock. Could do that for sure. Or you could actually add some lines, do different colors, make a polka dots or whatever you want to do, however you want to make that look. Sky is the limit when you're doing kind of your own. Nice thing about this is that you can personalize it yourself, right? To whomever you are giving these to. Okay, so now I'm going to add my acetate back onto these. So no, I'm not, because I'm going to be using this for, I forgot, I have to make my card base now, or my card front. Okay, so now because I'm doing a golf scene, what I thought would be really interesting is to kind of have like some sky and then some green grass kind of coming up, right? And then we can add our elements onto this. So what I want to start with is I'm going to turn this a little bit to the side and I'm going to bring in a bigger blending brush and I am going to bring in some, which color do I want to use for the sky? That's a good question. Blue green feels a little bright, but I think Blue Atoll might be a little too dark. Mhm. No, Blue Atoll could be quite nice. All right, so we're going to use some Blue Atoll to start with. All right, so we're gonna add a little bit to my blending brush. I'm gonna tap that off into the lid. This way then the lid, I can come back in here, pick up some more ink if I feel like I need some. I can also utilize this if you've ever watched when I do a little bit of watercoloring, when I'm doing Lavinia cards or anything like that. If I'm coloring and need a little bit of watercolor, I'll spritz a little bit of water into my lid, and then I don't have to use any more ink. I don't put it onto my mats or anything like that anymore because it could be a waste. This is stuff that I can still use. Okay, so now I'm going to start off of my page and I'm going to bring my color down just like this. And I don't want it to be super well saturated because I kind of want it to be a little cloudy. So that's kind of on an angle there so that I could do that. I do want to add a little bit more color here. Not a lot though, just mostly to kind of even out where I'm at there. But I'm liking this little bit of kind of cloudiness through here. Okay, so that's pretty good for the blue. And now I want to bring in, so I think what I'm going to do is bring in my very light green. This is Lime Punch. Because I want to have this as a, you know what, I'm going to turn that. Actually, just turn the whole thing. I want to have this, I think, as a bit of a base, and then I'm going to use a stencil. So this is the lightest green that I have out of these, anyway, out of this particular brand, which is the Lavinia. Okay. So I don't need it to have a super great blend. I'm not really worried about what my blending looks like because now I'm going to bring in a stencil and I am going to do some blending of the stencil here. What do I want? I kind of want that right there. I'm just going to, let's see here, what can we do? Right up in that area. So I'm bringing this as my lighter color. So, and you can see that my stencil actually ends up holding onto this grip mat, which is what makes it so convenient to use when you're stenciling because it holds your paper, can hold your stencil. I tend to keep my hand on it just in case, but in general, it does a pretty good job. Now, I'm going to lift this, just the edge here and see. Oh yeah, look at, see, I'm getting some kind of fun lines there. So that's kind of cute. And I'm just going to give this a quick wipe, especially because it's already on the green. So that's not a big deal there. Okay, so I'm going to pick that one up. And I'm going to bring in my next green, which is this pine. And I want to do a slightly different kind of edge to it. So I think that I could do this way. And I'm just going to gently bring some color here. So the nice thing about because I use that lighter green, I don't have to worry about covering too much of this, but those colors are going to build on top of that lighter green as well. It should be cool. Okay, good. I'm going to put this one away. I'm going to give this a quick wipe. Go. So, and we'll do a nice little reveal here. Ta-da-da-da. That looks great. And then on this end here, I have kind of what looks like a bit of a finer brass edge. I think we could do, now I could also try and do, I think that's got another hump that kind of goes that way. So I want to change this up just a little bit so that it kind of goes down here and then up on this side. I think that gives it a little bit of interest. Kind of like, you know, I'm going to make sure that I'm down below that edge there. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with my darkest green yet. And this one, if you remember, it's a new pad, so it's quite juicy. So I'm going to tap off a lot of that ink. Then I'm just going to come along, and again, I'm starting on the stencil and dragging down. Starting on the stencil, dragging down. That also helps to prevent any like massive drops of color that I would then have to try and buff out or utilize my like my blending brushes, or I might even knit that. Well, I don't know that I would start again. I'd probably just use one of my design elements here to kind of cover up the boo-boo, basically. Okay, I think that's going to be good for that. Let me move this so I don't stick something in it because, you know, that happens, right? And give this a quick wipe off. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's fun. Fun, 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 fun. Stencil a little bit of a wipe off of the green. Hey. All right. Okay, stencil to the side. I'm going to pick this up because this is done now. Pretty happy with that. So now we kind of have the blue sky. Looks like somebody's out on the grass there, right? Like it's ready to go. There we go. All right. And now I will put my covers back on my little mat here, little grip mat. And this grip mat, I believe, came from, oh, can't remember the name. Ooh, Alina Crafts off of can find them on, I think you can find her on Amazon. You can also find it on AliExpress, on Temu. Maybe it's some other places as well. But yeah, she is a small designer that makes some craft supplies. You can also find grip mats at a lot of other places. Like Simon Says Stamp has one, a lot of other places. If you don't want to get a name brand or one like that, you can also just use a silicone mat. A silicone mat will work and hold your stuff pretty well in place. Okay. All right. Now let's build our design. Okay. So we have a golf cart. We have a hole and a T, which I think I kind of want to have. Let me see here. If I do, so now if I do this, here's where the problem runs in. So I think we could actually almost do this. So I'm going to have him kind of teeing off, heading towards the green. Maybe I could do, oh yeah, that's better. It's got this kind of fun shape to it. Okay, so move over. This is also kind of why I had this do almost like this mountainy area, because I knew that I would be layering a few of these things, right? I want to make sure that it doesn't look like this green is just floating out in space-ish. I mean, could be, whatever. And then this is gonna go here. Nope. Here. Yep, like that. Okay. So this will work. So I've got my T. Ooh, I have a sneeze coming. So while I have this in place, what I want to do is I'm going to adhere the main part of the green here. So I'm going to take this part first and stick this down, because I have kind of decided where I like it, right? And so before I go and try and stick anything else down, let's do this part. Like so. There we go. All right. So that part is going to stick there. Now, this is the next one. This goes in here. So before I stick the black hole in there, what I want to do is I'm going to take my T, or sorry, the pin, and I want to actually stick it inside the hole. And I'm going to add just a little bit of adhesive right behind the pin here so that it will hold in place like that. For a second. Let it grab on. Go. It's a little crooked. Oh, well, whatever. Okay, now I'm going to add some adhesive behind this. A little bit behind the flag. And we are going to piece this in here. Let's pop that in like so. And the flag's going to stick down. And you could leave the flag part kind of floating free, but I think that because it's so delicate, that adds to could be asking for a bit of a risk in trying like somebody pulling it in and out of the envelope that might tear. So I'm going to stick it down just to be on the safe side. Now what I'm going to do is in this little hole here, okay, I added just a weensy bit too much adhesive on the outside. Pick that up, kind of push it in, right? Now I'm going to take this little piece here that I already colored black, and I'm going to fit that into the space that it's supposed to fit. Take my tweezers here and scoop up that little bit of extra adhesive. Now this adhesive will dry clear, so it's not the end of the world, but sometimes I just don't like to have that extra squidgy. But you do you. Okay, so, and oh, I should mention, okay, this is going to go on a standard A2 size card. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I have trimmed this down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. Okay, so that's what I'm working with. So now now that my green is in place, I can put my golf cart down. here. I kind of want to have it in the dark green because that's kind of the ground, or what I'm imagining is the ground, because I'm also going to put my, so in front of my guy here, I'm going to do, so he's going to be off to the left here, like so. Put him kind of up a little bit on the top of the grass. The T, like that. Oops, stop sticking. I might have a little bit of adhesive in my tweezers. Come on now. There we go. So, and right there, like that. Then, so that means I can do my golf cart. Yeah, I'm gonna have my golf cart right around here because I also want to stick my golf bag on there. So I'll just add, again, these are just tiny little pieces, so you don't need a lot. It's paper, right? So it's not very heavy. So you don't need a lot of adhesive, but you do want enough that these layers, this is going to stick down on top of the other layers. You could also, if you wanted, and had the forethought to do it, you could, pop up some of these too if you wanted. I'm not doing that, obviously, because I've already stuck them down. But yeah. Now with the golf bag, I'm going to put the golf bag right here. Do want just a little bit of adhesive behind those very delicate golf clubs. Because again, as this is coming in and out of an envelope, you never know, on the person that you're giving it to. I mean, going to my dad, my mom will keep it out for a little bit and then, it will go away or whatever. But you never know how often, how do people store things? How long are they going to hold on to it? Is it going to go into a drawer or whatever? So try and stick down the things that you can stick down, right? Give it a little bit of assistance that way. Okay, I'll do this here. Okay. And this fits right over there, like so. And also, when you're just as an FYI, and I I tend to forget this despite how often I use them. So I don't know why I forget this, but anytime you're using kind of like a jelly roll or one of the, oh, that's a lot of adhesive on there. Or one of these like a anything that's metallic, it tends to be, it's likely going to be a pigment, which means it's going to take a long time to dry. So I've got a little bit of silver. I can see here where I pulled a little bit of it off. So watch your fingers when you're going, and like when you're adding adhesive, sometimes it can get reactivated, or those kinds of things. So just kind of watch now, kind of like, no, I don't want to have the golf ball. I kind of like it right there. Okay, so now I'm just going to add my golf ball, even though this is a pretty big golf ball for this set actually, but that's okay. It gives the gist of it. And I am going to have that set right there. Off and on. My fingers down again on everything here. Make sure it's all kind of clipping together. Now, you can see here that I've left a space, and that's because I did cut a sentiment. Now, this one, you can clearly see way too big, right? It would cover everything, all of our hard work. But I have this great set, and it is, I don't know the name of it. I cut off the top of it, but I had gotten it from Scrapbooking Made Simple. It was from a while ago. It's like, Dad, you're the greatest. So it's got these really great quotes on it and everything. And I thought that some of these would be kind of fun. Like this is kind of cute on here. You're the greatest, like that little flag like there. The amazing isn't too bad either, but I think this you're the greatest is kind of fun. And it pops out. So technically, you could actually get a 2-for-1 on these because all of these letters that get popped out, obviously you can see them behind, and then that's what you spelling. But you could also all of these pop out, and you could use those without the banner kind of thing. So I'm just going to stick this down here like so. A bit of adhesive behind here. So you can grab that stuffy from the gold out. Or stick it down, right? So, and currently, if I were to just leave this like this, you can't tell that this is supposed to be, whoops, yeah, I want that up a little bit higher. There we go. Okay, that this is supposed to be Father's Day. This could be happy birthday. This could be um, a retirement card. Actually, this would be a really fun die set to do for retirement, right? So now I'm just going to stick it onto a white base, card base. So again, it's an A2 size. And I'm just going to stick it flat. It doesn't need to be um, popped up. Could be popped up if you want, but I don't feel like it needs to be. So I'm just going to leave it flat here. Well, not flat, but just going to adhere directly to the card front. Okay, like so. Stick that down. And then just to do for the inside, because I thought this would be kind of fun, is now I will do, now, I'm gonna give that a bit of a boof. Now I can do this ginormous sentiment on the inside, right? That'll be cute. So I will quickly stick that down. We'll call it a day here. This is going to be my Father's Day card. Hopefully, obviously, I think for probably most of you that are watching, Father's Day has already passed. This is, I think, coming out the first week of August. So, don't know if, like in Europe or in other parts of the world, if they have Father's Day and then celebrate those days. I don't know about that. If you do, please let me know. And when do you celebrate it? We celebrate ours, and I'm pretty sure the States is the same, but here in Canada, we celebrate, it tends to be the third Sunday in June. Also happens to coincide with my nephew's birthday. So it's, we've been knee deep in birthday celebrations since Mother's Day, basically. We have Mother's Day, and then we have my niece's birthday, then my mom's birthday, then my husband's birthday, then my nephew's birthday and Father's Day. And in between trying to get a few things done. And then it's my dad's birthday, then my birthday, then my brother's birthday. Like my sister-in-law is the only one. Hers is in February. And but we hit it. Come Mother's Day, it's like, woo, we hit it, and pretty much every weekend is spoken for the next little bit, but we're kind of coming to the end of that. So but it's been quite celebratory. But yeah, let me know, when do you guys are you a family that has everything kind of spread out and throughout the year, all of your family celebrations? Or are you like, and they just kind of hit. I have another friend who has between, I think it's August and October, I think she's got like 14 birthdays and anniversaries in her family. And it's like, wow, that's a heavy load to be doing. Um, so yeah, when do you guys celebrate Father's Day? Do you what does your summers kind of end up looking like? In springs kind of thing, I guess. Sorry, I'm just noticing that I have a few more. Sometimes when you use mirrored cardstock, you get a little bit of these little slivers and whatnot from when you die cut it. It's just those edges. Alrighty. Look at how cute. So that's just adorable. So we've added a little bit of dimension. Now, some of these I could go in and like on the wheels, I could add like glossy accents on the flag. I could make that in the hole, make it kind of stand out and kind of make it look nice and shiny. Maybe on the tee and the golf clubs or something like that. That would be kind of cute. That's another step that you could take to zhuzh it up a little bit more. But basically, this was to show you how I find the easiest way to take these multi-layer die sets and figure out how to use them. Best thing that I have found is to cut them out of white paper first, kind of put them together rather than wasting your good cardstock or things like that. Try it in white first, see how you put it together. Then you can decide, okay, I want this piece to be pink, I want this piece to be red, this piece to be blue, etc., etc. Go from there, or you can do what I did and then just add your color to your white cardstock. Sometimes that can be easier than trying to put together all of these separate pieces. So hope you enjoyed the video today, guys. That's going to be it. I will see you again in a couple weeks. If you have any questions or comments, please, by all means, put them in the comments section. I read everything. I'd be happy to answer something if I can. Yeah. If you please remember to share with your friends. If you have somebody who is getting into card making or paper crafting, share my channel with your friends. Again, welcome to the new people. Thank you for coming back. To the people who've been here for a while. Yeah, I will also in the link in the description, if you enjoy my class length videos and would like to help support me, I will have my buy me a coffee link in the description below. Every little bit is appreciated. I appreciate it and I appreciate you very much. Thanks so much, guys. I will talk to you in the next video. Take care.